Hello, my name is Linda Calloway, and I'm coming to you from my home in Bedford, Pennsylvania, to kind of show you some of my Picasso-influenced girls and let you draw some too. Now, this is done on a piece of index card mounted on a blank greeting card, and it is glued on, and of course, I can't get it open. It's blank inside, but I sign it on the back. I make envelopes for these, and I just put a little bit of design on them. The reason I took it out of the envelope is because it's so shiny. These are done a little bit differently. This one, instead of mounting on black, I mounted on the turquoise. This is one of my other things, the very first Picasso lady just about that I did. And it's just a copy on a book page, and I think it's very interesting. This is another one done on index cards. And these all tend to face the same direction because that's how I draw them. But occasionally, I do have different looking ones. This is more masculine looking, even though it's got the big red lips. Notice a lot of them have the yellow. This one's peachy. A lot of them have the yellow and green on the faces. This one has the pink and purple hair and green lips. So you can color them any way you want to. So sometimes they have double sides and sometimes they just have the one. So I have very lightly drawn this on here, and I hope I've got it centered on my camera. And the reason I lightly draw them is because I want the confidence when I go to put them on the card in front of you. So I'm coming almost straight down this way and coming around, and I'm going to stop, although I want it to go further. The reason I'm going to stop is I want this to get thinner in here, and then I go back and trace over that so that it looks like it goes from large to small. A lot of times I will start out with this smaller marker and then go over it for the thickness. Now I am drawing this upside down so that it makes it a little bit harder for me, and it makes it a little bit harder for me to get it smooth. I nearly always make the eyebrow bold. Not always, but mostly. And then I color it in with the whiter marker. Now I have a couple of sets of markers over here to color them in. I know for a fact that the pupil is not at the top of the eye, it's more in the center, but I draw it this way because I like to. And I have the artistic license that I can do that. And I like this lid right here thicker, but it's hard for me to see where I'm going because my hand is blocking it. And I can always go back and straighten up any of these lines if I need to. I'm going to put a little bit of a kind of a bag under there. Now, I usually do 2 lines in here. The one on the outside is nearly always thicker. This nose is almost straight down. Not all of them are. And that's one of the things that I really like about this is you can do variety. You do you. And sometimes my lips are smiling, sometimes they're more somber. That's kind of up to you. Sometimes this comes straight across. Sometimes it goes at an angle. So that's kind of up to you also. I am going to come in here and put a heart on the cheek. I put hearts or stars or checkerboard pattern or flowers. I have several different things I put on the cheek. You can do Zentangles on this if you want. You can do little Zentangles. In fact, let me show you what I mean. You can just do several little circles to give pattern to the eyelid. You can, I like to do this on the nose. I like to do this on the chin. Spirals are very, very repeated patterns in a lot of cultures. And I like to use them. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this little eyelid in here. And if you have any lines you don't like, it kind of hides it too. Now, I don't like that line at all, but I am trying to go quickly, and I'm trying to give you some different ideas without taking all day. My goal is to make this about a 40-minute or less tutorial. Why do I put lines in here? I don't really know. I just like the way it looks. Now, I give a hairline. I'm going to come up here with a bolder line. But now not all of them are bold. Sometimes I come on here on this other side and come up with another line. I'm going to do more, but I'm going to use this smaller one. And I like to add a little wave here and there. Remember, this is my version. If you're more comfortable using one of the printables to start off with, by all means, go ahead. I do encourage you to try to draw some on your own. Maybe your second or third one you want to branch out. I really, really like thick and thin lines. I think it gives it more of a professional look to make some of the lines thick and some of the lines thin. When I'm doing just the one side, the profile only, I nearly always color this in a dark color. It can be done with the marker. I'm using a fine line Sharpie and sometimes an ultra fine line Sharpie, but this is just a permanent black pen that is about the same size as the ultra fine Sharpie. Now, these are just the Crayola markers. The only thing that I dislike about the Crayola markers is this yellow is so vivid. This purple is just too dark to use. This is not bad. I am coloring this on just regular cardstock. You can do it on regular paper. The problem with the regular paper, though, is that it doesn't have much body to it. Now, this was supposed to be a permanent marker, but sometimes it will bleed on you just a little bit. And if it does, you just live with it. It's not going to be that noticeable once you get the whole thing done. Another thing that is very important to my students and me is when you're doing this, do short overlapping strokes. You will like it much better. Don't do long strokes. Do short overlapping strokes. And you can see that it bled just a little bit there. That's okay. You can do this with watercolor. You can do this with markers. You can do this with acrylic paint. The banners that I paint, I nearly always do in acrylic paint. You can do this with colored pencil, but if I want to do detail with colored pencil, I nearly always do it with the marker first and then add just a little bit of detail with the colored pencil. It's a lot faster. It's a lot easier when you're doing it. Okay. That is very, very bright because this is, I think I'm going to use purple in the hair. Because this is going to be cut out, I can test these on the side over here to see if I like it or not. I can leave a little bit of white while I'm doing this, or I can use white acrylic paint or the white, I'm having trouble coming up with the name, the white gel pen to come in and add a little white back in it. I like to use the white gel pen quite a bit. So just take your time. And I nearly always have different colors in the hair. If I do orange, I can have red or pink lines in it. I'm not going to go ahead and color all of that over there because you get the idea. If I want something darker in here, this is that dark purple. I can add a few little lines with the dark purple in here. I wouldn't overdo it, but you can change the design a little bit with the darker one. Now, I'm going to go in on the mouth with this pink. I don't always do it. You saw on one of my examples, I used green for the lips. And it is strange, but you can. You can use whatever colors you want. I want that neck to be different, but I don't think I want it to be orange. It's too bright. I wonder what would look like if I use the yellow here and went over it with a little bit of pink. No, I don't like that. But I do know that this orange is super bright. That is super bright. And I don't know that I want to use it, except maybe over here. I can use the orange on this heart. I can come back with this pink and put a little bit of other color in here because it looks more red, but it's not as dark as the red, to add a little bit to it. I think I'm going to get out my alcohol ink or my colored pencil to put a little bit more color in it. This is a colored pencil. It does really well in here to change the temperature, to change the color. And I do it very lightly. The more pressure you put on it, the more pigment is going to come. And if you can erase colored pencils. If you don't like what you've done, you can erase them. I don't even know if I don't think I want to do that. Okay. This I would do black. The reason I would do black is because the black really, really shows up. A lot of times I will take the gel pen and draw a little bit of white line in here next to the nose to make it show up. Or you can do a void where you just leave just a little bit showing in here when you're outlining. And that helps also. But sometimes this marker is going to bleed over and the line will disappear like it did right in here. Okay, you get the idea. I'm not going to sit here and take all the time to color it in. This is another color that's one of my favorites. And it does show up well in this hair. You could put a little bit of this turquoisey blue. There's the blue. And color in. So I can do the suggestion of a dress in here with this. Okay, you get the idea of how coming down straight with the nose, I make it pretty large. I make a very large mouth. I make a very large eye. Sometimes this eye is slanted upwards a little bit. Sometimes it's straight across. I almost never make it go with a downward slant because that, instead of giving it a pleasant look, it gives it an angry or sad look. Okay, I'm going to scoot this over. By the way, This is a flying pig because I'm flying pig paint parties with Linda, and it's just sitting there to remind us of who we are. Now I'm bringing this over so that you can see it, and I'm getting the large marker again. I do have it lightly drawn so that I can see what's going on. This time with my nose, I'm coming at an angle. Instead of straight up and down, I'm angling it. And this is not going to be a tiny nose either. This is more Picasso looking with the nostrils showing. Picasso did that quite often. Now remember, I am at a disadvantage. I do have it drawn in a little bit, but it is hard to see what I'm doing upside down and when my hand gets in the way. Large iris. And most of the time my iris is not the natural color. It will be green. Well, green is a natural eye color, but not chartreuse green or orange or purple or teal or some other color. I'm capping this marker and I'm getting this other one because I'm changing the lines from thick and thin because that is my preference. You don't have to put the little bag under the eye. I think it gives it a more Picasso look and it's more interesting. Sometimes I add different things to it. I have sketched in here a heart on the face, but I can change it. Remember, you are the artist. You have the artistic license to change it at any time. Even after you have your drawing put in here lightly with pencil, you can change it. It used to drive my students crazy when they would see me do this. I got a crooked line, so what I'm going to do is just reinforce this, make that line a little bit thicker. By the time you get it colored, it's not going to be that noticeable. And you can make this bolder by going over it. Now this one does have the other side of the face. Because we're going for a Picasso type look, it's not going to be the same. This eye would not be that close to the nose in a realistic drawing. This eye would be further over away from the nose. So this one is going to be down lower than that one. And one thing that I do, and I don't know why, I think it makes it look more mysterious. I almost always have the eye looking off in this direction. I just think it looks neat. Now, I need to come in with this thicker one. I'm going to have a little bit of the hair coming here so that I don't have to draw all of the eyelid. Notice the mouth is sticking out just like it is on this one. And over here, it's a very small section of the other side of the face. I could bring this over the nose with the eyebrow, but I'm not going to. Do you have to have long hair? Absolutely not. That's up to you what you do. So if I'm not going to do the heart over here, I think I'm going to do a star. Now, I nearly always make a wonky star. So let me come in here and erase. And if I'm going to do a star on this face, oh, this is really tough, drawing this upside down. But I like it wonky. And if you don't know what wonky means, I will show you. Not all of these pieces of the star are going to be the same size. In fact, a lot of times, none of them are the same size. I like the wonky star. I would come back here and reinforce this line or make it stronger to begin with, I can put a checkerboard pattern inside this star. Here's what I mean by a checkerboard pattern. You're probably seeing this other thing over here. I'll show you that in a minute. Here's what I mean by a checkerboard pattern. I just draw little squares and color them in. And I'm not going to take the time to make these look nice. You get the idea. But I do. If it was on my drawing, I would take the time to color these in very well. But you can do a checkerboard pattern over here. Do I have to put the little lines in the lips? No, I don't. But one of the things I really do need are the eyelashes, because all of my people have the bold eyelashes. And the eyelashes come from this line right here and come out. I do think this needs a bolder line, so look what I can do. I can come back and draw it. When you're tracing over your lines in pencil, take your time and slow down and watch where your hand is going so you can get it to look like what you want. The only thing else I need to do to this one is put in some hair. Notice this is wider, this is thinner. I do thick and thin lines in spacing and width of the lines. I let it come close, I let it go out, I let it wiggle. It can stop here, it doesn't have to go all the way up. This one can get really close in here. You can make some of these have bold lines in them. So that's another thing you can do. I just thought of something that would look really good with this. This is a suggestion of a shirt. And ladies, this is hard to do upside down. I know this isn't going to be even, but I'm looking for the pattern, and I am not worried about it being that even, because a Picasso typeface is a bit wonky. And you notice I like that word. This just gives us a different thing. You can go back in, instead of leaving that white, you can put some color in there. Sometimes I will come in here and make a little curl that hangs down into the background. So these two are just about finished. The drawing. You can do the one eye, the nose coming down straight. You can have it looking to the right. You can have it looking to the left. You can do the 3/4 view, which is this, where you have the profile and then you add a 3/4 view over in here. That needs to be bold. Then your color choices. I like to use different palettes. This one is going the opposite direction. See, this one is facing this direction. This was facing the other direction. This was done with watercolor. Notice the color is more subtle. I've got shading in here. So you can do that with watercolor better than you can with the markers. There is a little bit of white paint added to this for decoration. So take your time and do that. Now I want to show you this other one. I am not even sure this is going to fit in here under the camera. I think maybe you can't see the top. When I drew this on here, I just took my ruler and made a border. This is in my sketchbook, and I've got a border all around it. It's a little bit wider at the top and the bottom than it is on the sides. I went over it with the thick and thin lines. There is a little pencil showing. If you don't have a kneadable eraser, get you one. I think you can buy one at Walmart for $1, maybe slightly more. They're very, very handy, and when they get dirty, you just do this to clean them up. My next favorite one is the white rubber eraser. I don't like the pink ones. I don't particularly like the ones that come on the pencil. And the ones on the pencil a lot of times are dirty. And if they are, I will scrub it on my jeans to get the graphite off the end of it. Okay, I am not going to color this. I'm just going to mention what I would probably do with this. Because it's in my sketchbook and because it has a border, I would probably draw a black and white pattern in this. Maybe zebra stripes, maybe floral, maybe geometric, and fill this in around here and then put my color on here. This is multimedia paper, and this one I'm going to paint in with watercolor. If you want me to come back and paint this in on camera, I can do that and use the watercolor. But when you're using watercolor, remember, wet next to wet tends to bleed. You have to leave an area of dry because this is a thicker line. If I paint all the way up to this black line with my brush and stop, I can go ahead and paint this and come up to the black line and stop. But if you let the wet and wet touch, it will move back and forth. And you probably figured that out a long time ago. I think because of all the bold black I have, that I would color this in with black acrylic paint or draw it in with the marker. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Remember, they do not have to look the same. They do not have to be in realistic color. Now on this one, when I painted over this with the watercolor, it kind of took away the design. So you can always go back and go over it. You can see through this translucent watercolor, and you can go back and go over the design, and it doesn't even have to match exactly because your eye is going to read the same. And some of my eyelashes are not showing up all the way. I can go back over them, but you do have to wait for it to dry. If you have any questions, you can print it. Oh, I like that. I'm just going over and outlining that white, and it makes it stand out so much more. So you can do things like that. You don't have to be finished when you think you're finished. Okay, if you've got any questions, ask them. I will come back and try to answer them. If you go ahead and paint some of these, put them in your group. Take photographs of them and put them in your group. Now, this is unsolicited advice, but I'm going to tell you what I do when I'm going to take pictures. This is actually a cell phone that doesn't work right now. I get right over my picture and I hold the phone as level as I can. I try not to go one way or the other. I try to get as level as possible in bright light and snap a picture. And then I usually go back and crop it so that you only see this when you're painting, when you're printing. And I crop it. It's very easy to do right there on your iPhone software. Okay, I think I kept this down to about 30 minutes. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I want to see the things that you tried. Try it more than once. If you enjoy this, try it more than once. Remember, you can make it into blank greeting cards. You can make it into tags for journals. You can put it in your sketchbook. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can even, on your computer, shrink it down and have little tags to go in your journals. Or you can even make the whole thing on a small scrap of paper and make it a journal tag. You don't even have to, you can crop it. Let me show you what I mean. That's hard to do with this. I don't have anything clean to show you right now. You can crop it where you don't even have the whole thing in there and make journal tags. So have fun with it and post what you've got. This is Linda Calloway with Flying Pig Paint Parties, and have fun. Thank you.